Setting off his apnea alarm. We can set it for 60 seconds and see how long he's going to apneic and if it's chain stoked and things like that. So I like to set it at about 10. But if I really wanted to see a lot of detail, I can set it at 5. And now, see how I can see a lot of detail in the waveforms? Now the top is cut off, so that's because of this scale over here. So if I change this to 100 on the inspiratory, and it says negative, but it's not negative, 100. Now I can see the whole waveform, and I see, big waveforms, not little bitty ones bundled up together. Now, another thing here, just because it's a test line, we got pressure control of 20. Let's turn this down to like 10, because we got very compliant lungs here. Say we got pressure control of whatever. Let's see what kind of tidal volume we give. Say our tidal volume is 530, and we want 600. You could turn up the pressure, right? But what if your pressure is already really high, and we want to ventilate a patient with the lowest pressure we can? We can get his tidal volume higher by lengthening eye time. Because see, there's still flow right here, and when the breath ends. So we're not going to be able to get much more, but let's lengthen our eye time to what is it at now? 0.8. Let's make our eye time like 1 second. See, our tidal volume went up a little bit, right? Now, what about getting more tidal volume by lengthening eye time?
You're shorting E time.
See, flow has already come to 0, so we're not really going to get much more. We could get a few cc's or something, but let's go to 1.33 eye time. Now see what's happening? Flow's coming to 0, and no volume's going in. We see no volume going in because this is flattening out on top, the volume. See, the volume went in here, and we don't, this is pretty much no volume. There's no flow, there's no volume delivered, right? So, for this patient, I look at his flow waveform and I say, well, I need to shorten his eye time. Now, some people like to use that longer eye time as a dial in a pause in the ventilator because it increases mean airway pressure and improves oxygenation, right? However, remember ARDS, the disease is non-uniform throughout the lungs. So some alveoli are very compliant. So what can happen and they have long time constants because they're higher compliance. So what can happen with a longer eye time, that's time to over-distend those good alveoli. So you got to be thinking about all these things when you're doing this stuff, which is causing the least harm, which is the most benefit, and do I really need to do this? Those kind of things. Now, lengthening eye time now would not give me any more volume. In fact, we only got a little bit more when I went to such a long eye time. So let's go back to a reasonable. Oh, I keep wanting to touch that one. Now we got more of a reasonable eye time. Now look at the slope of this curve coming down like that. That's over 2 seconds, right? 2 seconds. The flow going in. How come it's 2 seconds? Oh, because those are half seconds. See, 1, 2, 3. So I was counting everyone as a second. So in 1 second, the volume is going in pressure control. And the slope of this line is about like this, right? So what's going to happen to the slope of that line if I increase the airway resistance? Higher airway resistance is a longer time constant, right? So let's increase the airway resistance and look at the difference in the shape of that curve. See? We got a lower peak inspiratory flow, and it doesn't come down quickly. It takes a long time to go across. And the expiratory flow, because of airway resistance and longer time constants, the peak expiratory flow is lower, and it comes up more slowly. Let's go back to where we were so you can see a comparison. See the difference in that and that? This is showing longer time constants. So when you have longer time constants, you're going to need a longer I time to get the air in, but you're also going to need a longer E time to get the air out. So we're not going to sit at the bedside and calculate time constants. It's the concept of time constants that you need to understand. Patient with emphysema and his lungs lost their elasticity, he's going to have long time constant. He also has bronchoconstriction and airways that cause the airway resistance to be high. So their time constant is like 2 seconds. It'll take 6 seconds for them to exhale their breath. And that means the respiratory rate on the ventilator is like 7. So that probably won't work.